If you look over the last 3 years, we've made very significant improvements in safety. And in 2008, we had over 40 fatalities. Last calendar year, we had 17 in South Africa. So I think that gives you an idea of the degree of improvement. My concern, however, is we're not seeing any further improvement. And we've been flatlining now for the last 3 quarters. And that is what's deeply disturbing, is the need for us to take another step change. And whilst I think that the hearts and minds of people are much more in tune with safe performance than, say, what they were, say, 3 years ago, much requires to be done. So we're stepping up our training on safety, which includes even just taking entire crews out and reorientating them through the safety training. We're looking at additional coaching. We're looking at additional supervisory capacity on the operations. We're continuing to look at our layouts, mine designs, and we've had some successes. You know, on seismicity, we went for almost 20 months without any seismic fatals. And you know, the one area that most people think that we can't control is the area we've done the best at, which is seismicity-related fatalities. We've had a very good record on that. And that's not by accident. That's because of a series of initiatives targeted towards that. So there's more to be done. We've got to reinvigorate our processes. And we've shown we can do it. You know, if you look at KDC East, which is formerly Kloof, they got 2 million fatality-free shifts that they achieved last quarter. Before we had some of the fatals recently, we got to 1 million fatality-free shifts at KDC. Driefontein in the past, which is KDC West, has gone 8 months without a fatal in the past. So we've done it. It's not as if we can't get there. You know, we've shown we can do it. And what we've got to do is we've got to dust ourselves off, pick ourselves up, and we've got to show that we can do it again, which I'm very confident that we will do, and achieve much better fatality and injury rates. Our injury rates at the moment, although they've regressed, they're still way ahead of the industry at large. But where we've lost it is on the fatals. And that's where we've got to, when I say lost it, where we flatlined, where we haven't improved from where we were. And I always look at this from a zero base. You know, I never say, well, you know, we're now the same as last quarter, so we're doing fine. I'm looking at it from a zero base. But there's more work to be done. We never put production before safety. Never. Safety comes before production. We'll never push production if it creates an unsafe environment. And in fact, if you look at the last 3 years, you'll see that we've taken 2 million ounces out of our reserves because of areas that we weren't happy to mine. Some of the very high-grade pillars that we've taken out of our reserves. We shut down a major shaft system for 7 months. We shut down another system to replace a water column that had ruptured prematurely. So we've shown that we're not afraid to cut production in favour of safety, and we'll do it again. Now, obviously, we need to try and improve the sustainability of the operations. But increased production and increased safety aren't at odds with each other. And there are good examples in our operations where the safest operations have also been the most productive. If you set the mine up properly and safely, you generally also set it up to be more productive. But if it's a choice between the two, you know, we'll never put production before safety. That's our values, number one value system. We've got all the systems in place on safety already. You know, we've had systems in place for years. It's back to behavioural issues, as you've indicated. You know, it's making sure that people do the right things at work. And you know, in some part, some of these societal issues in our country play a part here. And you know, you see this very clearly when you travel overseas. You know, people sometimes don't behave on the roads as they should in our country, whereas in other countries it would be a non-starter to even think about that. And then you try and translate some of that behaviour into your operations. And that's one of the reasons we focus on this 24-hour in the life of a miner, of an employee, by saying it's not just about looking at the time the guy spends at work. It's about looking at what's his recreation time spent on, and what are we doing to facilitate his recreation. What's his sleep time based on? Does he have decent accommodation to sleep, etc.? What's his nutrition like? Is he getting the right amount of protein, etc.? And all of this contributes to making his life more worthwhile, his or her life more worthwhile. And that way you can actually influence behavioral change in people. And that's probably going to be the issue that makes the difference from now. It's not about systems or standards or enforcement. It's more about getting people to believe that they can and should operate safely. So that's the journey we're on at the moment. Beatrix has had a bigger drop in production this quarter than what we'd expect. We had a number of safety stoppages at Beatrix in the last quarter. So the results of this last quarter are not representative of what the mine can do, and we believe that we'll have a strong recovery at Beatrix in this particular quarter. So that's not representative of what we see going forward.